Yellow hello again! I am Atlas Leaf, and I am on a Let's Play through Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. This will be episode number 2. So far, we've explored a bit of Corkery Forest, and we've just entered the Great Deku Tree, and he has told us that he has been cursed, and he needs us to break the curse. Now this is not a blind Let's Play, we're revisiting one of my absolute favorite games. And with that, let's get started. So immediately we enter into, after we're told this very serious thing, the Great Deku Tree, the Forest Guardian, needs our help. We leave Sunry Corkery Forest and enter inside the Great Deku Tree, and it's strangely serene. We get this unearthly music that's tranquility, almost like it's drifting down. We look up to see all of this grandiose height, and then we look down. You can see down below this web, and we can see all the way depth. Ooh, and our second item of the game. Now, I think this is a really well-designed space. I've seen other discussion about this as the first introduction to Zelda in 3D, and I think I'd like to highlight some of the points they have there. So, because this is the first 3D, and because it's the first dungeon, I think it has a heavy weight to set the stage. And the first thing as you walk in is you see this incredible height, and then you're immediately also shown incredible depth. Now that's pretty cool. And then the first thing you have to do after you fight the enemies is climb. Yeah. And the first thing is this pillar, again, showing you the height and the depth. Note that the grass patches here will regrow, so you're really never in danger of running out of resources. Look at this wall, the vines growing on it give it a rough surface. Maybe you can climb it, Atlas? And I could, but it's covered with rather terrifying sculptureless spiders. You found the dungeon map. Press start to get to the subscreen and look at the map. Alright. And immediately, for the first dungeon, we have 5 floors. At first, this seems pretty overwhelming, but at the same time, we have 2 different ways to climb up to this level. This level gradually curves around to be on this floor, what only ends in this one door, and we have an obvious path up that we can't take yet. So one way to go. You can open a door by standing in front of it, pressing A. Pay attention to what the Ashken icon says. That's the blue icon at the top of the screen. First door of the game. Oh. Deku Shrub. He will hide in the grass if you get close to it. Bounce the nuts it spits back at you. I did not mean to bring out a Deku stick. Ow, forgive me, Master. If I give you a clue, will you let me go? When you jump off a high cliff, if you hold the joystick forward, you will roll on the ground when you land and won't get hurt from the fall. I can't guarantee it will work though. If the cliff is really, really high, hee hee hee. Well, try it if you are feeling bold. Wahaha. Ah. Jump across, this platform shatters, and we're dumped on the ground. No path back, we'll take the vines forward. And we immediately get the dungeon item. You found the fairy slingshot. Nice. And the game immediately does a classic Metroidvania RPG style test. It gives you a new item and then forces you to use it. So before there was no path, and look, something's hanging up there. It looks like an old ladder. Solid game design. And, really notable, the first time you're required to use a slingshot is not against an enemy. It's establishing it immediately as this is a tool. Deku seeds, small hard seeds that you can use as bullets for your slingshot. Notice again, this is grass. Because it grows back, you're prevented from being soft locked in this room. We continue on. Now, we've reached as high as we can on this gently sloping path. Time to test out our slingshot. And we can continue on. Get some rubies, another Deku nut. And we're on our way. There's something about the inside of the Deku Tree. Even though it's full of spiders, most of the Deku Tree feels really peaceful. But it's got this kind of conflicting architecture. There's parts of it that feel very natural, and parts of it that feel like they were constructed for some purpose. You've got these platforms, you've got these walkways. I like to think about the reason these were here, reason why these structures were built. Because it looks like a mixture of like naturally forming caverns within the Deku Tree, but also looks like someone has definitely come through and carved into these. It's kind of fun with the Deku Babas. They're the ones that do the lunge attack. If they're stunned, will go straight up, allowing you to get a Deku stick easily. But if you don't know that, in this room, there's one that always stands straight up, again preventing you from becoming soft-locked. And here's the compass. I really like how Legend of Zelda, in many of the instances, you get the dungeon map and the compass separate. It kind of adds a visual element, rather than just having them lumped into one item. It's especially interesting if you have one but not the other, as far as looking for where you need to go next. There's this, and we can hear a scratching sound, leading us to our first golden Skulltula. You've collected 1 tokens in total. Now we don't know what these are, but the sound and the color and the reward definitely already signals this is something we should be looking for. There's a recovery heart. We've already used a switch a few times. And, oh, yeah, this is the first switch in the game as well. And here will be our first uses of Deku Sticks as a puzzle solving element. I'll just put the stick away to keep it from burning up, and we're back in the central room. So what I mentioned before about that room having that standing Deku Baba is because you need at least 1 Deku Stick to light the torch to leave. So by having 1 Deku Baba always be easy to get a Deku Stick from, it prevents you from getting soft locked. Again, just nice, simple game design that really is thinking towards the player. Alright, and so now that we've come all the way to the top, it's time to go all the way to the bottom. Oh no, I missed. Well, let's try this again. Oh, Skull Chihuahua. Be careful not to touch it. Realize that I didn't check Navi's guidance for those. Such good sound design on the spiders. Oh no, I missed again. For how many times I have played through, this is probably my favorite game. It is, I very rarely get that jump done on the first try. But, it's not very difficult to try again. What? I thought Jump Slash was the more reliable way to open it. Well, maybe third time is the charm. Gives me more time to linger in this moment. I think especially what's striking about the music here is it's such a contrast from the Kokiri Forest, which is very, very bright as a musical note. Oh. Come on now. Well, I guess we can always consider what is the purpose of the inside of the Great Deku Tree in lore. So, various other places within the... Oh, I'm just falling off all sorts of things today. Various other places within the lore of Ocarina of Time, they mention forest spirits, water spirits, fire spirits. So my headcanon has always been, maybe this is related somehow to the forest spirits. But it feels so different from the forest temple. But we'll really get into that detail later. Oh, I know what I did. I pulled back on the control stick too quickly. And while we have time, we can also think about the Kokiri Forest was labeled as the barrier to Hyrule from the rest of the world. There we go! And now we're at the base of the Great Deku Tree. So we've gone from the highest point all the way down to the lowest point. And we can immediately are confounded by lots of stuff happening in this room. We've got 2 spiders chittering away. So I'll quickly silence those. We've got this flowing water deep at the base of the Deku Tree. And again, we got this kind of conflicting stonework construction. Are these metal pipes? The roots trailing down. We got another man-made switch. Immediately see we got multiple potential entrances and exits. And these like epic like root ball tap root that's coming down. And you think at this point we even come out of the wooden into natural stone. A lot of big cool changes. Immediately challenged by the fact that that door is blocked by webs, so let's hit the switch. And here we go, there's a torch and a chest. Now at first you could think that the torch was just to give us access to that chest, but we've already seen that we can use the Deku sticks as a way to solve puzzles, because we've already used them to light torches before. So I think this is one of the first kind of challenges for the player is, I have the tools, but can I put them together for what I need? That door's covered by webs, and we've just been shown that that fire will remove webs. So, time to link them together. Now, what's interesting, one of the things I think about for game design is my understanding that for the original building of Zelda back in the 2D days, there was a discussion about how difficult the game should be for the players. And then when the designers were confronted with this, there was a distinct rule for the design that they should make it harder. Not because it should be difficult or intuitive for players to navigate the world, but because the designers thought that this is a game, or they had the idea for game design that players should talk to other players and exchange secrets, tell other players how they solve puzzles. And so I think that has come through with a lot of the games, I think, are willing to let the player be stumped, because in some ways they're expecting the player to have help from their peers as sort of a shared bit of solving. Deku Shrub. Please forgive me, Master. I'll never do it again. If you spare me, I'll teach you something cool. You will never beat my brothers up ahead unless you punish them in the proper order. The order is 2, 3, 1. 23 is number 1. Do you think I'm a traitor? I have always thought that Deku Shrub is certainly a traitor. Just so willing to sell out the brothers up ahead. And here we have our first eye switch. Seems very intuitive. We have something that shoots stones, and we have something that looks like an eye. Can we poke the eye? And here. After you get into the water, if you hold down A, you can dive. I bet there are some interesting things underwater. I bet there are too. Again, this really interesting dual construction. We got mechanical elements. Nope, didn't quite time it right. But I think this room is not particularly time sensitive. But it throws a lot of complex elements at you. We have a time switch, which we've seen before, with a small movement challenge, which we've seen before, paired with putting the switch underwater. So it's sort of like a test of several mechanics we've seen before, all put together. And even this room, which is, I mean, simple, like, kind of a simple platforming timing challenge, is really visually interesting. We got these grooves carved in. Definitely don't feel like the tree grew in this way. We got the water flowing through. I've kind of wondered... Stand next to this block and grab hold of it. While holding it, you can push or pull it. Stand next to it, press A while pressing the joystick towards the block, you can climb on top of it. Pay attention to what the action icon says. I've kind of thought that maybe the Great Deku Tree was potentially even serving, like, not only magical functions to the forest as a guardian spirit, but maybe practical ones too. This makes it kind of wonder, is, like, he treating or filtering the water in the forest? The fact that we have the two large pools with flowing water through the Deku Tree seems kind of important. And we have another little challenge room. I think most of the rooms in the Deku Tree I feel like are very well designed, as is most of the design elements in this game. First off, we have an enemy right in the middle. We have the two torches. So, if you decide to immediately just go for the lighting the torches, you immediately run into an obstacle. But if you dispatch the enemy first, it doesn't return, clearing your way. So if you think the room first tactically, it becomes easier to solve. But other two Babas, they stay, allowing you to continually replenish your supply of Deku Sticks. So far, we just had the one time torch before to open a door, now we have two, very gently ramping up what the game expects of you. And this room. I think this room is also particularly interesting design. So immediately see a spider hanging up above you, and you can just pass it easily enough. But there are those up there. Goma larva, look when it gets ready to pounce. I still remember being scared, shocked, delighted when I first played this. The idea that an enemy would jump up on me from above with just that shadow as warning. But the game doesn't really throw it at you without a reasonable expectation, because before you can even enter the room, there is a spider up above. Again, sort of like gently introducing the concepts, but also putting the message home by having the enemies that if you didn't see the first lesson, see them when they drop down on you. And we have some more webs. So we can continue on. There's the first. I think I might have dawdled too long. We'll see if I can make it to... Nope, just barely. Let my torch burn, my Deku Stick burn out. See if I go straight there. And two. put away the stick before it burns away. I should probably just grab a few more. Now, something fun here is we have this door. With a very distinctive sound. Now, this may frustrate many other players, but this is something we can't yet deal with. So it's just left here at the base of the Deku Tree just to be kind of a question come back to later, establishing that you may want to revisit locations. Here's another crawl space. And we've come full circle, back to where we initially dropped in, but now we're on the higher side that we couldn't reach before. And immediately given a block to create a shortcut. So now we can bypass that entire way around. Now, here we see another web. We've broken one before from above, but we don't have the height required to do that again here. We've seen we can burn down webs, but all the torches here are just a little bit too high for us to reach. So again, now we have a challenge. Can we find a way to get fire from over there, over here? And we have a handy block placed. So, we string the smaller puzzles together. Almost saved the Deku Stick. And we've now opened up another way forward. Or in this case, downward. And now we can go through the map. What looked before to be quite a lot of space has very gradually unfolded. First going up, and then returning all the way down. Now we have one space left. And we're at the very base of the Deku Tree. Basement number 2, and one last challenge. There we go. Do you remember the puzzle from before? So, nope, they just go right back in. No way to brute force it. Because there's no hint at the order you need, unless you remember what you heard before. 23 is number 1. How did you know our secret? How irritating. It's so annoying I'm going to reveal the secret of Queen Goma to you. In order to administer the coup de grace to Queen Goma, strike with your sword while she's stunned. Oh, Queenie. Sorry about that. The Deku Shrubs do not seem very loyal to Queen Goma. So far we've seen Goma's larva, and now we're seeing Queen Goma herself. But I think I'm going to save the meeting with Queen Goma for the next episode. I hope you have been enjoying this journey through the Great Deku Tree. It's one of my favorite locations, but it's really hard to have a favorite in a game as wonderfully designed with such care as this one. So, I guess I will see you guys in the next episode when we take on Queen Goma. This was Atlas Leaf, and I hope you guys have a good day now, and I'll chat with you next time. Goodbye now.